The Los Angeles Clippers are having a terrible season. Right now, they have a record of 4-11, which would put them 7 games below 500. Usually, when you're that many games below 500, it's hard to get out of that hole. Even though it's still early in the season, it's still a difficult feat to overcome. But maybe they'll get lucky. Maybe Kawhi will decide to play and they can go on like a 10 or 12 game win streak. But I highly doubt it. That's going to happen. This team has been mired in so many scandals this season when it comes to Steve Ballmer, Kawhi Leonard, taking that money underneath the table. Just all that stuff has engulfed their season, and then you add insult to injury with Bradley Beal getting hurt and being out for the rest of the season. It just makes it that much worse. So I remember just seeing all these headlines about them the other day, and then I thought about Chris Paul because, as you know, I'm a Spurs fan. He played for the Spurs last year, and I was wondering how he was doing this season. I pulled up his stats, and wow, they are terrible. They are what you call god awful, and a huge drop off from last year. So this year he's averaging only 2.5 points per game, 27% shooting from the field, 27% from three. So they're identical. His shooting percentages from three and from 2 point range. That's kind of amazing. And he's only averaging 3.3 assists per game, which is really low. And yeah, he hasn't really been doing anything else when you look at his playing time. Granted, he's getting 1 steal per game, so he's still getting steals, but he's only playing 13.7 minutes per game. A huge drop off from last year. Last year, he was playing 28 minutes. 13.7 minutes is the lowest amount of minutes he's ever played in his whole entire career. I looked it up. So things are not going well for Chris Paul. And I have to say, like, I really appreciated what Chris Paul did for the Spurs last year. Last year, he was very solid for them. He averaged 8.8 points per game, 7.4 assists, and he only averaged 1.6 turnovers, which is a ridiculously great assist to turnover ratio he had. I felt the biggest thing he did for the Spurs was he brought in kind of like a winning mentality in the sense that the Spurs, prior to getting Chris Paul these last several years, they haven't played organized basketball. They didn't have good ball movement. They didn't know how to run a proper offense. It was just horrible to watch during Victor's first year in the league. It was just insufferable. Like, it was just really bad. And I think Chris brought back some structure, and he was able to show all these young players like how to play the game properly, how to move the ball, how to do simple things, something that I felt a lot of these guys are lacking. I think one of the greatest influences he had on the Spurs was like convincing Keldon Johnson to take a role as a bench player and to stop thinking of himself as a star when he's not. Like, I think that was like one of the biggest things he's done, because you see Keldon bought into it. He's even bought into it this year, and it's helped not only Keldon, but it's helped the team tremendously. So he brought in like a good attitude about having teamwork and playing together. I'll always be thankful for that, because I think now it's paying off big dividends this season when you see the cohesion of how the Spurs are currently playing. I think Chris's fingerprints are all over that. So I'm always thankful for that. That's one thing I want to mention. But I think Chris's time in this league is over now. You look at these numbers, they're awful. They're like a huge drop off from what he did last year with the Spurs. And I know some people can argue like, well, Tyronn Lue's not playing him much and has reduced his minutes drastically. If he got playing time, his numbers would be better. You could argue that, but one thing I've noticed is once a guy who's really that old, who's like late 30s, early 40s, puts up bad numbers, it's hard to get back to what you were prior to that. It's kind of like a wrap. Once your numbers drop off, you just can't get it back. Your body cannot be conditioned again to play the big minutes once they're cut. It's not doable. So I think Chris's career is over, and there's no shame in walking away now, because I never thought Chris could make it all the way up to the age of 40. To me, it would have been unheard of to see him play as long as he did. If you told me 15 years ago that he was going to play until he was 40, when you look at his body type, his size, I didn't think he could last that long. I think that's a testament to him, but it also shows you how much the game of basketball has changed so much that small guys can play for long periods of time, whereas in the past, to play within your late 30s, early 40s, you had to be a big man. It was very rare to see a perimeter player, especially a short perimeter player like Chris, make it this long. But the time has come for him to retire. He had a great career, one of the greatest point guards of all time. I'm sure if you had to make a list of great point guards, he would be somewhere in the top 10, top 20 when you just base it off of just assists. I think Chris Paul is second all time in NBA assists. Let me just look at it. Let me just look this up. I want to confirm it. NBA assists all time leaders. I'm just looking up right now. Let's see how this goes. It's not showing it for some reason. Let's see. Yeah, he's number 2 all time at 12,532 assists, while John Stockton's at 15,806 assists. Stockton's record looks like it's safe. I don't think anybody's going to pass it. LeBron is number 4 on the list, but he's at 11,596. I don't see him passing Stockton ever, even if he tries to play for like 10 more years. But yeah, what Chris did is remarkable. But yeah, number 2 all time. I think unfortunately LeBron probably will pass Chris. He's not too far behind at number 4. But either way, like, look, Chris probably will fall to number 3. Still pretty impressive what he was able to do when it came to being the number 2 all-time assist leader. So he had a great career. He fell short of winning a title, but I think it's always very hard to win a title when the point guard is the best player and is well below 6'5", 6'4". It's going to be an uphill battle. Usually short players don't win titles when they're the best player. It's very rare. It's only happened a few times. Isaiah Thomas, you could say during the late 80s. Chauncey Billups on that one title team from the Pistons. Granted, you can argue he was equally as important as Rasheed and Ben and Rip, and they were all at the same level. But you get what I'm saying. It's just very difficult. So Chris had a great career, and I would believe he's definitely not going to be back after this year because he's officially washed. That's all I had to say about this.